Hey, it's Mr. Johns. Welcome to my RC world. This is a hobby that you wouldn't even know I had because I don't share many videos, or if any videos, about this. So I'm excited to share the flight, my maiden flight of this Rage RC P-51D Mustang. Here's a look at the underside where the battery pushes into a little slot. The wheels are removable. Very lightweight. This thing can be picked up for about $100, $110. A little 1S, 3.7 volt, 400 megaamp hour LiPo battery. This will give you about 15 minutes of flight time. Not a ton of power, but just enough because this doesn't weigh hardly anything. Here, a look at some of the other warbirds on their website, ragerc.com. And the Mustang is now blue this year, so I have last year's version, which is right here. It's the silver version, and also the canopy is just part of the foam and black, and this year they've changed that. So you get 3 propellers, the removable wheels, the battery, the charger, and the controller for $110. So here I take this thing out of the back of my Mustang to go fly my Mustang. So always a little nervous on maiden flights, but we're going to give it a shot. So here we go. Rage RC P-51D Mustang maiden flight. Just chuck it in the sky. It goes a little bit low at first, and so I gas it up, give a little more power. Now, this thing is really small and pretty zippy, so we may not be able to see much. You see, there we go. Well, we're going to bring it closer to the camera, and I'll walk out a little bit. This is at Settlers Park, which is in Meridian, Idaho, where I live. Nice big park, and it's 7:30 in the morning. Just not a lot of people here. This is a great location to fly RC stuff. So there we go. Woo! So a little bit close to the trees. I am finding it super easy to fly. It is a little faster, a little zippier than I thought. Anytime you fly something small, it's a little challenging, but this thing has full stabilization on. So what that means is it will correct you if you do something dumb. Now, don't you wish you had that in your normal life? It just corrects you when you're like, yeah, don't do that. So if I try to steer too sharp, or I try to do a loop when I don't have enough room or whatever, I guess it doesn't know that, but it will stabilize you. So it's just, you have 3 modes. You have full, intermediate, and expert. I have it on full just so I can see how easy this thing is to fly. And again, apologize. Really hard to see this thing. I've got a GoPro on my head, GoPro 10 Black in this to shoot this video. It's also the first time I've used it, so it's the maiden voyage for my GoPro 10 Black as well. Full 4K video. So I'm really excited to use that. Also have a new camera that I'll talk about later that fits on the top of larger RC airplanes or cars, so I can get like first-person view video. I can't wait to use that. I've got a nice big glider that I'll be flying soon and doing its maiden flight. It should be a lot easier to see. So this thing is just so small, so I can see it, but you guys can hardly see it. I apologize for that, but wanted to share the experience with you. It is just zooming, and I'm immediately comfortable with this. I just don't feel on edge or nervous that it's going to crash. It just really does what I tell it to do, and probably does better than I tell it to do because of that stabilization. So anytime you can get an RC airplane for $100 that comes with stabilization and the controller, that's kind of a no-brainer. So this gives, I love that flyby. This gives everybody the opportunity to have success flying an RC airplane. And the fact that it's semi-scale correct, it looks like a P-51D Mustang from World War II, just super cool. And I'm obviously a Mustang fan, both car and airplane. So I love these things. Now I'm trying to do some flybys just so I can get close to the camera, but still kind of getting used to controlling it, and also trying not to get too crazy by bringing it straight at the camera. But I am going to try to do a couple of those passes so I can get some better video. I see the moon in the sky. That's easier to see than my airplane. So maybe I'll slow it down and do some do some slow flybys here in a second and keep it a little bit closer to the camera. It pretty much disappears if it's low below those trees, or if it's in the sky flying level. It's just a sliver in the sky. So I'm just at this point super happy I'm not crashing it. That's because that's pretty normal for an airplane that you don't have stabilization, especially a small airplane. It's like flying a drone, you know, without GPS stabilization or any of that stuff. Drones are super tricky to fly, actually, but the quality ones with GPS stabilization and all that are a no-brainer. You could be half asleep and fly it. So fun airplane to fly. And I think if you just want something quick to jump over to the park and throw into the air, this is a good option here. So where is it? I don't know. I mean, I know where it is, but now that I'm watching the video after the fact, I don't see it. Here it comes. Yeah, there it is. It's above the trees. You can barely see. It's just a black dot. So one thing I noticed is it doesn't quite have the power to do a loop, at least with this full stabilization, probably because it tries to correct me. I tried to go full power down and then do a loop, but it didn't really act like it was going to let me. So, and I'm pretty sure that's because of the stabilization, and I'm just going to leave that on, and I'll do that later. I'll do another video where I go from intermediate to advanced and see the difference between what it will allow me to do. There's a slower flyby. I could still get a lot closer to the camera, and so I'm working on that each time I come around, just trying to get my confidence up that I'm not going to run it into myself or run it into the ground. There's a shadow of Mr. Johns with the GoPro on his head. I'm sure looking really cool. People wondering, what is he doing? Another slower flyby, still not very close to the camera. That was maybe 6 inches from the grass, but pulled it out just before it crashed. Literally, I am used to crashing RC airplanes, and so it's kind of normal, but this thing just flies. It's just flies so nice. It also doesn't drop like I thought it would when I cut the power. Because it's so small, it doesn't have a lot of wing area, and I thought it would just drop like a rock. But when you cut the power, it still kind of becomes a little glider and does okay. A little closer to the camera that time. Kind of in a comfortable clockwise pattern here. I tried to do a little bit of left turns, but mostly I'm just sticking with an easy clockwise. Easier to keep an eye on it, and then sometimes like this, flip around and go the other direction. Just so you always want to make sure it goes as easily left as it does right, as easily up as it goes down. Make sure everything is synced. So, having not built this, a lot of the airplanes that I fly, I make out of, that was a good flyover. I make out of dollar store foam and do a lot of those flight test style homemade airplanes. And when they fly, you're like celebrating the fact that they fly because you built it, you install the electronics. That's a whole nother thing. This, just pop it out of the box, charge the battery, boop, throw it in the air. So super easy. Maybe not as much a feeling of accomplishment since I didn't build anything here, just bought it. But when you just want to fly, there are times when I want to build, and I actually have built a ton of airplanes out of foam, installed expensive electronics in it, and then they've never flown. I've got quite a few of those. My students can attest to that. In my classroom, I've got some airplanes just sitting there or hanging there that I've never flown. And, partly I don't have the courage to do it, because what if I just slam the ground and boom, it's done? Because they're a work of beauty, in my opinion. Whereas if this crashes, I don't have any skin in the game other than $100 bills, right? Which is still, skin in the game. But I that's just money to me. Whereas if I have hours of work and effort and passion and interest and painting and all that stuff, balancing, That's a lot more work into it than just buying it, and I just don't. I need to overcome that. I just am so nervous about crashing my own stuff. I'm so bad at that that I never use them, you know. So the whole point is to fly these things. And so this summer I vowed, and here I am halfway through the summer, I vowed that I would get out and fly my RC airplanes. Okay, there's my best flyby right there. A little slower speed. And I know these things go about 15 minutes, and probably getting pretty close to that. I'm not going to push it. I can tell it's not quite as powerful as it was, but it's still going pretty strong. I feel like I could fly another 5 or 6 minutes, but I plan to bring it in before it. Now that was a slow flyby, but I slowed the video down, so to be fair. But I plan to land it here in a minute or two before it dies. So one thing I like is to be able to land it when I want to land it, and land it at my feet or near me. And at this point I'm thinking I probably should have taken the wheels off, because I didn't really use them. I didn't use them to take off, and I'm certainly not going to use them to land. There is no landing strip here. I know at my school where I teach, we have a long jump. I'm not sure what you call it, long jump pit, I guess, but it has, you know, probably 60 feet of asphalt leading up to the sand pit, and it's like a wide sidewalk. It's a perfect landing strip, and I've used that before school or after school, and I love it. But here, we're just going to bring it in and dump it on the grass, and it does exactly what I thought it would do, was flip because of those wheels, but that was fun. So what's my final take on this Rage RC P-51D? It's the Mustang. I think it's fantastic. For the price, it was $99 last year, up to $110 now, but that includes everything you need to fly. So if this is a hobby that you're looking into, have always thought about, this could be a way to get into it. Now, it's a little bit zippy, a little bit challenging, but it has all the settings that really help you out. Now, my first flight in this video had the little switch here was set on full system, or full assist is really what it should be called. So you've got full assist, intermediate, and off or expert. So I had it on full assist, so it kept it stabilized. It kept me out of trouble. Any time that it is turning too sharp or dropping too sharply, it helps balance that out. So it pretty much prevents you from crashing. So my first maiden flight with this little zippy, challenging airplane didn't even crash. And I think that's something that anybody could do right out of the box. So then as you get better, you can certainly flip that to intermediate and eventually to expert, where you have full control over your flight abilities and mistakes. So it's a very lightweight, all foam airplane. It weighs almost nothing. The quality is good. The controller seems a little bit inexpensive, but for $100 or $110, you get everything, including the controller. And I'm a big fan of that. I know it seems weird, but I don't like to have to. I'd rather have a bunch of cheap controllers that go with each airplane than one really expensive controller that I have to sync to every airplane. I just have not had great luck with that. And I know that's probably what most pilots do, is have one good quality $500 controller, and they just have it all controlled in, programmed in, so they can just choose which airplane they're flying. To me, that's more than I want to do. I just want to go out, turn it on, throw it, fly. So I would say highly recommended as a first flyer, or a challenging little extra flyer for you in the park. So it does not require a lot of room, although I still went over to a large park nearby just so I had all the space I needed. I would not do this in my backyard. This thing is pretty fast, and it does need, I'd say, a football field or a half a football field area to fly comfortably. Looking at the screen right here, this is this year's version. I love it. I'm almost tempted to get it too, just because it's got the blue and yellow paint scheme. And another addition is a clear canopy, which I think is really cool, so you can see inside the cockpit. And then down here, again, this is everything you get. The wheels are detachable. When I came in for my first landing, I hit the grass and then flipped. You can pretty much count on that every time if you've got these wheels that are stuck down, into the grass when you land. So because they can pop off easily, I think next time I'll probably just take those wheels off so I can do a nice belly landing and not flip at all. The propellers, it comes with 2 extra propellers and they pop off pretty easily. So if you do break a propeller, you can easily pop those back on. And a nice little charger. So everything you need. Another thing I didn't do, there's a little button on the top left. It says stunt. And if you press that button, it can do a loop or a roll that can really make you, as the website says, make you look like an ace pilot. So I didn't push that button either. This was just basic first flight. But super fun. Go out and grab one. I think you'd enjoy it. Website ragerc.com is one place to get it. I think I bought mine on eBay, but the price was the same, so I don't think it really matters where you get it. But check it out. They may even be at your local hobby shop. So Rage RC is the company, and this is their Warbirds Micro collection. So I'm excited to go fly again, and also excited to do some more maiden flights with some airplanes that I've had hanging around that I've never flown, coming soon to the skies near you. For now, Mr. Johns is out.